Thank you very much. I would like to, okay. I'm given about 10 minutes, and as you can see from my slide, I was asked by the conference organizer to introduce Korea's trade policy, focusing on FTA policy, and then trilateral cooperation. I will move quite briefly on this subject in my turn. Okay, the half of them may be Korea's trade policy, and then rest of the presentation will be on world trading environment and possible trilateral cooperation, some suggestions. Okay, if we talk about Korea's trade policy, we should start with the 1967 when Korea joined the GATT. So in fact, Professor Choi and I attended one seminar held a couple of weeks ago to recognize the 50th anniversary of Korea's joining the GATT system. But later you will see, unfortunately, the multilateral trading system is not working very properly. But in any case, after we joined the GATT, until early 1990s, to be more specific, until 1993, Korea almost relied on multilateral trading system of the GATT for any kind of trade activities. But in 1993, as you remember, we heard the news that Canada, United States, Mexico form a North American Free Trade Agreement. We are very much surprised, and we are becoming very much concerned, because at that time, our major export markets are United States, and we are heavily competing with Mexico in the US markets. So we realize that now Mexican products will go to US market without tariff, but we have to import, you have to pay a tariff to get into the US market. So that's why we are concerned about our trade policy. And then without any systematic kind of plan, we happen to choose Chile as our first FTA partner. But in any case, coming into 2003, at that time, the government, the government is more like a progressive government, which are not really focusing on international trade. But anyway, President want to make a more systematic plan for pursuing multiple FTAs by setting up some kind of criteria. That's what we did in 2003. And the priority was given mostly to large advanced countries like the United States and EU, and also large emerging nations like China. But in any case, we group the target countries, short-term group, mid-term group, and long-term group. As you can see, in short-term group, Japan, Singapore, ASEAN, Mexico, and EFTA in Europe. Those are the first group we want to start our FTA negotiation with. And mid-term and longer term is US and EU, and lastly, China and Korea, China, Japan trilateral FTA. That's our plan, but maybe order has been a little bit changed, but we pretty much pursue all the FTAs which was planned in this roadmap. Okay, right now we have 15 FTAs in effect. I don't want to count them all, but it includes United States, EU, India, and ASEAN, and Australia, and many other countries. But as you can see, Korea-Japan FTA negotiations, unfortunately, after 1 year of negotiations, it was suspended in 2004. And for Mexico, we tried many times. We requested to have FTA negotiations, but Mexico kind of refused to agree on these FTA negotiations. So at the moment, we have 15 FTAs, and we are negotiating with Indonesia. And of course, we are also participating in CJK FTA negotiations and RCEP. And Korea was considering joining the TPP if TPP is implemented. as an additional member in the future. But at the moment, you know that the implementation of TPP is not possible because of the U.S. position. Okay, these are the pictures of the current FTA network of Korea. The green areas are our partners. And what kind of benefits we have from these FTAs? Well, first of all, you have to ask what are the main motivation of pursuing that many FTAs. I think, as you know, Korean economy, domestic economy, is less than 2% of the world GDP. To be more specific, maybe 1.8% of the GDP. So we are a small country. To make advanced, kind of economic development for advanced countries, we have to continue to have a relationship with our foreign partners. That's why we try to have that many FTAs. Right now, we have 15 FTAs. If you count the countries, it's like 52 countries. If you add all the GDPs of 52 countries, it adds up to more than 73.2%. This number is the third largest after Chile and Peru. So we have a pretty much connected kind of partners with Korea. And using these FTA networks, when I work for the government, we really emphasize that these FTA networks, not only for large companies, but also this is providing good opportunities for small and medium-sized enterprises to become more global player using these FTAs. So government is also helping small and medium-sized enterprises to be part of the global value chain. That's one of the economic benefits we are expecting. And also, we hope that we have 15 FTAs. That means maybe foreign investors want to utilize this kind of Korea's FTA network by investing in Korea. So then we can actually expect some kind of new technologies coming along with foreign investment. That's the thing we want to also expect. And lastly, we also want to enhance the competition in the domestic market by introducing more imports and also more investors. That's the kind of benefits we are expecting from FTA. Now, look at the world trading environment. To put it very simple, world trading environment is pretty much uncertain, and especially the multilateral system will be weakened because of the Doha round stalemate. And regional trade integration was kind of considered as a second option or alternative to the multilateral trading system, because TPP was expected to play a very important catalytic role in stimulating multilateral trade negotiations and other regional trade negotiations. But unfortunately, it has been stopped. And at the same time, as you know well, President Trump announces various trade policy measures. Some of them are much more kind of protectionist kind of stance. And as Professor Choi mentioned, more and more general public sentiment about the free trade is increasingly negative. It is spreading all over the world. So we are even concerned about potential trade war coming. It's not actual war, but retaliation by one country to another that may be hurting East Asian economies most, especially CJK, because we are heavily depending upon international trade, especially using the US market and EU market. So we are a little bit concerned. So what can we do by three nations? I think, first of all, I should say that all of us should work together to fight against rising protectionism. I mentioned a few ideas, which is not that creative idea, but most like a textbook style kind of recommendation. The first, I think we should play some role, constructive role. Actually, China is one large, emerging player at the WTO, and Japan is a very matured advanced country, and Korea as a middle power country. I think we can work together to save some roles. We can play some roles in saving the Doha round. And for the regional trade integrations, CJK, FTA, and RCEP should be completed as soon as possible. But at the same time, they should aim for high quality RTAs. In fact, if you look at the, I don't want to spend too much time, but if you look at the intra-regional integration, East Asia, I mean CJK plus ASEAN, we are the smallest in terms of intra-regional trade compared with the EU and North America. I think EU is most integrated. We are very much less integrated. So I think the CJK, RCEP should provide the markets for not only intermediate goods, but also for final goods. We have to provide the markets for final consumer goods among ourselves by establishing very aggressive CJK and RCEP negotiations. And we have to tell our leaders, our politicians, that they should emphasize more importance of trade. Trade can generate economic growth and even create some jobs, not too many jobs. And lastly, if I attend many different seminars, the key word about the free trade, they are talking about losers. Losers not necessarily coming from trade. Maybe they are coming from more technical development or globalization, but they are easy to blame trade for huge difficulties faced by young people. So I think government and politicians and political party should seriously consider redesigning the policy schemes to help losers so that they can move to other sectors or they can get more education, they can get more training. Without that kind of efforts, I don't think free trade will be stand anymore. I will stop here. Thank you very much. I'm sorry to spend more time.